Candidate TV, KPM.
So I believe in this section we're going to be talking about prose. Am I right, Puan A?
Right. Okay. If you're ready.
I'm excited about this.
Okay. If you can take a quick look, you will probably see what's on the left is something that we already took a look earlier. All right, showing deep knowledge of the text, able to discern underlying meaning from the text, discussing language use and providing personal response is what we hope all candidates can integrate and put together with the knowledge of these texts, right? As we mentioned earlier, candidates would have already decided and selected whether to work on 6 short stories or one of these 2 novel options. So, let's just say this is 22nd of March and you're sitting for the paper.
I am.
Okay. The first thing you see when you open up the question paper will be section A, prose. So let's imagine this is an overview of the questions you can see. All right. What you can quickly realize is the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, the A questions are extract-based, and these extract-based questions are all 15 marks each, right? Whether you're doing short stories, whether you're doing one of the novels. Okay, what makes it a little bit more challenging would be on the morning of the exam, the candidates will not know beforehand which 4 short stories are coming out. So what I have here are merely examples or sample questions of what could possibly appear. 4 out of the 6 could appear, and they could be turning 30, sambal without anchovies, thieving daughter, and birds of paradise. So if you're looking at the likelihood, 4 out of 6 actually means you must know your text very well. All 6 short stories, right? So candidates would have decided whether to do the 6 short stories or one of the 2 novels. And what I have here is an A question and a B question based on Min Fong Ho's The Claimable. Okay, take a look at the questions. Based on turning 30, 1A. What are your thoughts and feelings about Beverly at this moment in the story? Analyze the relationship between Aisha and her mother in this scene. That's the question based on thieving daughter. And then, if you look at novel 3A, you look at the question, it goes, in this incident, each character has a different opinion on how Dara was able to find her family. What do you think of their opinions? You will realize and remember what your teachers have told you. These A questions are restricted, clearly restricted to the extracts that they have given you. All right? Whether it is turning 30, whether it is a different short story, whether it is the claimable, an extract-based question means you do not have the liberty to lavishly and generously tell your examiner, oh, I know everything about this text. That's not going to get you anywhere. So your analysis and your response is entirely based on the given extract, okay? So that's the first thing I'd like for everybody to remember. An A question based on the extract, valued at 15 marks, must show, convincingly show, that you know your text and your analysis of the given extract. Whether they word it as this moment in the story, whether they word it as in this scene, whether they word it as in this incident, you realize you have not been asked to mention anything beyond, anything before, anything after. So don't go there. All right? Don't go there. Moving on, if you're looking at the B questions, you will realize they also have something in common. They are 20-mark questions, and they all are questions that are based on the main ideas, the main messages, and the themes found in the text. So for example, if you're looking at sambal without anchovies, by Chua Kok Yi. You've got there the dynamics of Hanif, if I'm not mistaken. That's the protagonist in this short story.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. And Hanif is a young businessman who goes and butts heads with his father because he and his father have different ideas about what to do with the nasi lemak stall. So you've got their family relationships, you've got their love and support, you've got their communication. Those are all themes that teachers would have covered with their pupils. So look at the question. Explore the ways in which Chua Kok Yi makes the stall significant in the story Sambal Without Anchovy. For 20 marks, you not only need to know the text, you must also have a clear understanding of underlying meaning. You also must be able to show language in use. And then, what's your response? A mature and critical response, yeah? Not a response that says, because he's also Hanif. I'm also a Hanif. I'm very upset with the father. Nothing like that, please. All right, I just made a bad joke. Okay, let's take a look at the Birds of Paradise, okay? And then let's take a look at Clay Marble. Again, the questions are based on the themes found in the text. So now we know the difference, yeah? When you're looking at prose, A is extract based and B is obviously themes and main ideas. Now, take a quick look at this extract that comes from our short story, Thieving Daughter. Right? Imagine that this is the extract that comes from the story, the short story, and the question that follows is analyze the relationship between Aisha and her mother. All right? I made it a little bit bigger so that you can see, reading through, the first thing you do is put it into perspective. Where in this short story did it happen? This is at the beginning, where the mother's hoping for meaningful morning conversation at the breakfast table. But obviously she's disappointed because you see there she says in her mind, are you my daughter or simply a munching machine? Aisha doesn't seem very aware of what her mother feels. So if you were to get a question like this, I would be hoping candidates out there would remember the AOs. Yeah, remember the AOs, yeah?
Yes, I
the
do.
AOs and the question, how do we analyze the relationship between Aisha and her mother? So you would have to put there your textual evidence. You would have to put there the underlying meaning. It is not what it seems. It's not just breakfast one morning. All right? What she was expecting, they did not materialize. All right? Aisha did not fulfill those thoughts that she had. And when she says, my daughter is a thief, first she steals my beauty. Now she robs me of my appetite. That's your AO3. Why did the author use these words, a thief who steals and robs? No mother would describe her own child like that, isn't it? Now, as Hanif asked earlier, how do we express our personal responses? I would tell candidates, put yourself in their shoes and then ask, do you feel pity? Do you feel anger? Do you feel, as I put here on this slide, the turmoil is relatable. As a teenager myself, you don't feel your mother understands you. Been there, done that, okay? Now, we have looked at an extract-based question. Now let's take a look at a B question, okay? If I can tell Hanif a little bit about the clay marble,
Right.
It is one that centers on war, and there are these young children who are caught in the middle of all the conflict and chaos.
That
Right.
sounds quite daunting.
It is traumatizing to imagine that the main characters in this novel are pretty much 12 to about 17 youngsters, okay? If the question was, analyze Jantu's ideas about war in the novel, what I would expect candidates out there to quickly do the moment they see that question is to quickly remember all these main ideas. What did she go through? What did she feel? How was she influenced by everything that happened? And once you've done all that, you will be able to move on to this. All right? And I'm hoping candidates will always be able to get to this template for 20 marks. All right. Analyze Jantu's ideas about war. What is the AO1 that's relevant to this question? All right, what is the AO2, the underlying meaning? When she says there, those that are fighting in the war only care about themselves. The children who are caught in the war, they are defenseless and they are suffering with no protection. What about AO3? I love this example, personally speaking, because Jantu tells Dara, they don't use soccer balls, they use us. So Jantu is telling Dara, these politicians, they don't care about our welfare, but their own personal benefits and gain. That's what you need to put in, because that's what the question wants. And finally, what would you say about war?
I think it could have a lot of negative repercussions.
Right. So we would expect candidates to be able to delve into their emotions, imagine what Jantu and Dara have gone through, and be able to say, at least, I am sad to note, sad to read, that Jantu's dreams have now been destroyed. And spoiler alert, Hanif, Jantu doesn't make it.
Oh no.
Right. In this tragedy of a novel, Jantu doesn't survive the war.
Oh wow, okay, that is sad news to me, but perhaps on a happier note, I will try and check out my character in
Sambal without anchovies.
I'm sorry, Sambal without anchovies. I think that's very exciting.
Didik TV KPM